Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online series 8 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used the rank number 1 team from last season, featuring really cool stuff, Polytoad Kingdra, as well as a bunch of really interesting sets like Eerie Impulse, Rain Dance Thundurus, a Focus Sash Will-O-Wisp Dragapult, and a couple more things. So if you haven't seen the last episode, I highly recommend it. Huge credits to the original creator, of course. Congratulations to them for finishing number 1 in the last ranked season with this team. Their Twitter is down in the description below, as well as a rental and a paste. And I've had a lot of fun with this team. I think Kingdra's actually really impressed me with this team, and I think it's just so well built because it covers for its weaknesses super well, especially because Zacian is the restricted Pokemon and the main star of this team. So I think it's funny, I was thinking back to what game, I guess technically game 4, but really game 3 from yesterday against Regieleki. And one thing to note is that this Zacian does not max speed Alecki with an Airstream boost. But that's actually a really big deal because Regieleki is a pretty big threat to us here. So this is a really interesting team from our opponent. Sun, but Torkoal Lilligant. There's no Venusaur, which is typically what you see on Sun. Torkoal, Charizard, Lilligant, Xerneas, Urshifu, and Alecki. So definitely not a standard team by any means, but I think Thundurus is huge for us here. They're almost entirely special, so we can just Eerie Impulse almost anything, which feels really good, actually. So I think Thundurus might be an MVP kind of Pokemon here. Because with the lack of physical Pokemon, I think this is a perfect combo for Thundurus Kingdra. Zacian in the back. Zacian just makes Xerneas' life so hard here, honestly. And then Poly. Yeah, and Landorus actually isn't a terrible Dynamax option here, actually. I could even not bring Polytoad here. I know that seems kind of wild, but the thing is that Kingdra can just set up the oh, but I guess well, regular Landorus still isn't terrible here. Actually, I think it's not bad. Obviously, I want Zacian. It does seem kind of weird to not bring Polytoad here, but I think because we have Rain Dance, like Landorus is just so incredible offensively here, I kind of want to bring it, but we'll see. Once again, like, I think this team has so many good favorable matchups in the format in the metagame right now, especially because not a lot of people were prepared for Polytoad Kingdra. And once again, to be able to top the ladder or win tournaments, like, it's really important to be able to read the metagame and then come up with something that not a lot of people are using or prepared for, and that's what this team does super well. So they just go with Torkoal Lilligant, which I think is not great for my opponent because I can just Rain Dance turn 1. The problem here is that I think Lilligant is going to Sleep Powder. Wait, do we have Taunt here? We do. So why do I can just Taunt Dynamax this thing in Geyser, right? I feel like there's so little risk to that. I guess Torkoal probably protects. Like, that's the only downside. But I feel like our matchup is just so good here that it doesn't even make that much of a difference. And the slight upside of maxing here, well, my opponent's just in such bad shape after this turn. Maybe we don't need a Geyser Torkoal because that's not really going to do much to us. It could Yawn, but Torkoal just seems so unlikely to actually do anything here. Okay, I'm down to Taunt Lilligant, Max, and I'm just gonna Geyser Torkoal because there is the small chance they go for a Yawn here, which seems super crazy. Okay, they're just gonna switch out, but that's fine. They're gonna go into Xerneas. That is a good switch in by them. But the thing is, I can just Eerie Impulse and max Airstream Lilligant next turn, right? Like, I think Eerie Impulse just makes Xerneas' life so difficult right now. And with Taunt, like, unless you're Mentor Lilligant, I feel like we're in good shape. That switch was pretty obvious, so I don't know. Part of me didn't want to Dynamax Kingdra, but I think it's still fine to max here, especially because we have Rain Dance on this Thundurus as well. So now they see my Taunt, I'd be surprised if they try to Geomancy next turn. Yeah, they just go for Sleep Powder. So the Thundurus is, I think, just so good in this matchup. Because I think this next turn what I can do is go for Eerie Impulse onto the Xerneas. And then go for... Honestly, if you're my opponent, I feel like you should Dynamax Xerneas and just attack here. So Eerie Impulse onto Xerneas. And I'm down to Geyser into Lilligant. Lilligants are normally Focus Sashed anyway. And with the rain up, like, we should do like 50+% if Lilligant stays in, but I think it's very likely it tries to switch out here, maybe into Torkoal to reset the weather. If you go back and if you go into Torkoal and okay, so let's see. Yeah, they switch Lilligant into Torkoal. Okay, perfect. It feels like I didn't get that much out of turn 1. I guess the other question is whether at -2 special attack, like, how much damage is Xerneas really doing? You also could Geomancy here. Interesting. It looks like they might be considering Geomancy because they didn't Dynamax. So I think Eerie Impulse is still better because even if you're Geomancing, yeah, like I'm just gonna bring you back down to -2 next turn anyway. And I still have Zacian in the back, and Xerneas typically can't do that much into Zacian, so if Geyser one-shots Torkoal here, I feel like we'll be in really, really good shape. But that's a nice Geomancy for my opponent, because I think had I just gone Taunt and Geyser there, we kind of just win the game. Because they basically waste a turn. But the thing is, if I Taunt and they end up maxing and going for max Starfall into Kingdra, we're in bad shape. So I did not want to risk that. Okay, we're not going to KO Torkoal, but that's okay, I think. It's really not that much of an issue. If you're my opponent, though, you probably switch Torkoal back out. I will say this is getting a little bit awkward just because of the fact that I don't have that Politoed in the back. But I like Eerie Impulse here. Oh, I should have maybe Airstreamed at some point. Have I revealed Eerie Impulse yet? No. So that was, yeah, that was just a nice read to go for. But if you see Taunt, you probably expect Eerie Impulse as well. Torkoal probably protects or switches here. It's actually more... It took that Max Geyser better than I thought, to be honest. I thought we could maybe still one-shot despite the sun being up. Okay, so they switch out. Probably back out into Lilligant. Oh, that's actually a Lecky coming in. Okay. And they protect. You know, I'm totally fine with that. Because I'll get good damage onto a Lecky. A Lecky is just really annoying to deal with. I do think you probably, like, attack with Xerneas now. Yeah, great damage from Airstream there, though Geyser might have just KO'd. Question is what my opponent goes for this next turn. Like, do you switch the Alecki back out into Torkoal? Because that would make a lot of sense. And then I do feel like you max Xerneas at this point. I definitely think I need to be going for Eerie Impulse here. Like, we just Eerie Impulse this a bunch. But the thing is, do I just sacrifice the Kingdra here? Because I could protect pretty easily. Protect is kind of obvious here. I think it's actually maybe fine to just Muddy Water here. Although I do think Alecki just goes back out into Torkoal. Oh, they don't. Okay, that's actually a really big deal. Because my Kingdra outspeeds right now, right? We're at +2 speed and the rain is up. Oh, but we miss. Okay, it missed Xerneas. I mean, I'd rather hit the Alecki, I guess. Just because Alecki is annoying for that Zacian that I have in the back, but... I don't know, they're not maxing, so it's like, you know, every little bit of damage really adds up. So that's definitely a frustrating miss, but it's okay. They're going to go for Moonblast here onto Kingdra, yeah. Oh, wow. Kingdra actually survived. I'm going to be honest, I didn't expect that. Yeah, Eerie Impulse is... Like I said in Team Preview, this Thundurus is going to be super clutch for us, and that's exactly what's happening right now. So the cool thing here is I can just Rain Dance with Thundurus. I could Eerie Impulse again. Torkoal should protect here, like always. We also got a special attack drop, so that last turn was definitely not ideal. Oh, but I have Landorus in the back, which is so good for us. I think it's better to actually just go for another Eerie Impulse here. Well, they probably don't expect Rain Dance, and if I do Rain Dance... You don't KO the Thundurus anyway. Yeah, I think it's... You know what? It's fine to Rain Dance in Muddy Water. Because if you... Okay, yeah, they didn't protect Torkoal. They're also not maxing still, which is really confusing me, because I really think you should have just... They should have just maxed Xerneas after the first Geomancy, or even before Geomancy. Which is like... That's why that Muddy Water miss last turn was really frustrating, because if that connects, like, they're just so low HP, right? And now they're risking accuracy drops as well. And I feel like because my opponent's already behind, you don't really have that room to work with. So Kingdra's going to faint, but the thing is, now I just bring in Zacian. How does my opponent beat Zacian? Wow, Substitute. Yeah, that's interesting. But now you really can't Dynamax that thing, right? Feels like that. I think it's Substitute, Geomancy, Moonblast, so Protect or Dazzle is your last one. Maybe even a coverage move. I think we probably go into Landorus first, because Zacian should just be the endgame sweeper, and Behemoth Blade should just easily knock out both of these right now. That explains, though, why they never wanted to go for a, yeah, why they never wanted to go for a Dynamax, because they don't want to... If you Dynamax while you have Sub, You just lose your substitute. I think I like just going for Taunt here and Earthquake, honestly. Because I'm pretty sure Zacian should win this endgame. Eerie Impulse onto Xerneas, I guess. No, I like Rain Dancing, because then I don't have to deal with this, like, Logan isn't as scary. Okay, so they're finally going to Dynamax, but now I'm really interested, like, can you really Dynamax Lilligant here? It's just so weak. I guess you kind of have to. Yeah. So they're going to Dynamax Lilligant. Those are typically Focus Sash. That's also why I didn't want to waste a Taunt onto it, because it does feel like the only max option at this point. Wait, Xerneas revealed Protect already, didn't it? Yeah, it did. That is a fascinating... Oh, no, I ended up taunting anyway. What am I saying? That's a fascinating set on Xerneas. Sub, Moonblast, Geomancy, Protect. Oh, they actually target Thundurus. Okay, given that then... Oh, they don't do any damage there. We should just win the game with Zacian. Fortunately, we're not... They're going to Overgrowth. Does this KO? That would be actually a really big problem if it did. Oh, I guess the problem, though, is that you actually set up Grassy Terrain. So... my Earthquake probably doesn't knock out the substitute on Xerneas right now. It's kind of a long, drawn-out endgame, but because we have Eerie Impulse, I honestly think it's fine. But Fly would have been better there, because I should have known the Lilligant was going to attack first. So that was kind of a misplay on my end, I think. But once again, I'm pretty sure Zacian should just win this endgame, because my opponent just has so little damage right now. Yeah, let's just Eerie Impulse. Well, actually, if we Thunder here, we can break the sub. Oh, but if I Eerie Impulse, you just also don't do that much damage, so... No, but I'd rather break sub, I think, right now. So, Thunder and Protect. Seems okay to me. Xerneas is just so weak right now. They're going to Protect with Xerneas, it looks like. Okay. I have to say, they are playing this endgame pretty well, but because I have Zacian in the back, I'm really not that nervous, because when you look at my opponent's team, like, what's Lilligant and -2 special attack Xerneas going to do against a Zacian? The answer, not very much. So all I need to do is not, like, carelessly switch in Zacian and, like, take a critical hit for some reason. So they're going to Overgrowth into Landorus. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay. Because Thunder, after EQ damage, should just break that substitute, and then I can just taunt the, See, it's just gonna be annoying because Taunt's gonna... I should have gone for Eerie Impulse instead of Taunt onto Lilligant. For some reason I thought I did, and then I ended up not going for that. It's fine to just go for Fly here. I also should have just gone for Fly initially with Landorus. Okay, they're gonna go for Moonblast. I think they need a crit right. Oh wait, we have a special attack drop on Thundurus. I wonder if that actually hurts us here. That could be kind of scary because I don't know if Thunder actually KOs the sub right now because we have like no special attack investment. They're at +2 SPDF. But we'll see. Okay, get Thunder off. It's definitely annoying Xerneas to deal with. It's stuck on the field for way longer than you'd expect. But okay, we break sub. Good. And they're going to Overgrowth. But now I finally bring in my endgame weapon, which is Zacian. It should just sweep for us. But this Xerneas was honestly kind of a pain. But you can see how good of a move Eerie Impulse can be. Because, like, it's if you're Dynamaxing Lilligant with that team, it's normally kind of a bad sign, right? So they shake off Taunts, but with Xern at -2 and with Zacian, I think all we need to do is taunt the Lilligant to make sure it can't Sleep Powder us, and Behemoth Blade into Xern. Because like my opponent's answer against Zacian is the Torkoal and the Charizard. They didn't bring either of those. So that's a really interesting Xerneas set, right? Because you're only committing to Moonblast. Now typically Xerneas is only going to run like dual Fairy anyway, but with so many Steel types in this format, this is why like Xerneas is significantly weaker than it used to be. So I'll just Taunt and Blade here. Maybe you sub or Protect with Xerneas, but it doesn't make much of a difference. They're not gonna go for Protect, but I could definitely see Substitute right now. Lilligant just shouldn't have any other offensive options other than like Leaf Storm, and they commit Moonblast, so yeah, that should be game over. Even if you double crit the Zacian here, yeah, that just does no damage. Eerie Impulse Thundurus basically single-handedly won us the game. It's not just Eerie Impulse though; it's the fact it had Rain Dance and Taunt. Like we utilized the full moveset here, right? Which was a really big deal. So, you know, I think this was interesting because I actively made the decision not to bring Politoed, but I really don't think Politoed would have offered very much for us at all. Yeah, they're just going to Leaf Storm into Zacian for, you know, decent damage, but yeah, even if both of those moves crit, I think we'd probably end up surviving the turn. And even if it doesn't, like, Thundurus should win against the Lilligant in this position. So this can highlight, like, a disadvantage if you build your entire team around, say, just the physical Pokemon or special Pokemon. Now, my opponent had Urshifu, so, you know, it's 5 special and 1 physical. But the downside for them is that, yeah, something like Eerie Impulse can just completely shut you down. And, you know, the converse is true with, like, physical attackers, right? Let's say you only run physical attackers. What in the world are you going to do against, like, if you have a lot of Intimidate and if all your physical attackers can actually get hit by Intimidate, right? Those are just some examples of why typically it's good to have a balance on your team between both, like, physical and special attackers, if you can. Of course, for example, you could run an entire team with physical attackers and have like a lot of clear body, or, you know, Metagross is a great example, or Pokemon that just aren't affected by Intimidate. That makes it a little bit harder to shut down. But one reason why I think this team is super clever is because you have Dragapult with Will-O-Wisp and you have Eerie Impulse from Thundurus. So you have these two moves that, you know, I mean, Eerie Impulse Thundurus is actually like decently common, so it's not like crazy to see. Will-O-Wisp on Dragapult definitely a lot more unique. But it's not like it's, you know, hasn't been seen before, right? People have run support Dragapult before, but I think the combination of those is really interesting because you can just kind of, if you can get a Will-O-Wisp or an Eerie Impulse onto whatever's Dynamaxing, you often can just win the game off that, especially if it's like a Dynamax restricted turn 1. This team is really scary. I mean, it's very, very fast-paced hyper offense, and basically we're conceding that they're going to outspeed us. They also have terrain control, which means I can't taunt or Eerie Impulse with Thundurus, and we can't control the terrain. So on paper, this does not look like a good matchup. I think the upside for us here is Zacian being able to resist some of the Psychic type attacks, but if I'm my opponent, I think I would just go with one of the Psychic terrain users, Eleki, Whimsicott, and Calyrex, just set up Tailwind and try to sweep with Calyrex. We don't have any Ghost Resist, which doesn't bode well for us either, so on paper, this looks really tough. And Sash Dragapult might be the solution here. But this is not going to be an easy matchup by any means, I think. One actually really interesting comment I read the other day was someone saying that they sometimes lead Dragapult Politoed and Phantom Force Perish Song turn 1 just to apply pressure on a turn 1 Dynamax, which is actually pretty cool. But I'm not sure it really works here because if you're my opponent, you could just go for Tailwind Astral Barrage against that combo. And I really don't know how to approach this. I don't like Politoed here. It just doesn't do anything. And I'd rather just set up the rain via Thundurus. I think Landorus is not a great... If Landorus or Assault Vest here, I'd consider it. But I'm going to try to go with Dragapult plus Thundurus with Zacian and Kingdra in the back, I think. I mean, Calyrex Shadow is really scary here. I think generally, if you can outspeed your opponent with this team, you will find yourself winning most games. Because there's so much good type coverage. But that's the scary thing, right? I think we've gone up against so much Tailwind actually in the last episode, and this one now included as well. And Tailwind definitely makes things a little bit tougher. They're going to just go with Calyrex and Indeedee, so not really what I wanted to see here at all. Actually, I feel like this just completely crushes me. I can Rain Dance Phantom Force. If I had Airstream on Dragapult, I'd actually consider Airstreaming. I was hoping to see the Whimsicott lead here, so they definitely outled me. If I Phantom Force, it forces them to follow me. I can at least Rain Dance to set up the rain. Then I might as well just have brought Politoed. The thing is, leading Thundurus is okay because it gives me some more options. I can't even control the terrain. Maybe I think if you're my opponent, you just go for Expanding Force plus Astral Barrage. Eerie Impulse doesn't do anything. I can at least Rain Dance in case my Thundurus goes down. Okay, they go for Follow Me. Well, yeah, I mean that makes sense because you want to cover for Dynamax Dragapult turn 1. So I at least set up the rain, but this is still just so rough because like they will outspeed me. The Indeedee is so good against this Thundurus as well. Okay, their Calyrex is slower, which is good to know. Dragon Dart's actually still going to do a lot of damage here, like very, very good damage. And they're going to go for Astral Barrage, but that's not going to KO either of our Pokemon here because we have the Sash on Dragapult. So that's actually a really big deal. We managed to survive this turn. We took, what, 106 damage on Thundurus. I forgot about Unnerve. That's actually not good. See, this is not, like, the lack of a Ghost Switch in right now is what makes this really, really tough. Because you can just bring out Whimsicott and Tailwind now. I don't see how I can win this. Because I can't switch either of these in, and I can't protect either. You know what's crazy? Going for a Hail Mary play, like Phantasm, you should just, if you're my opponent, you always just follow me here in Astral Barrage, I think. I can't switch. I can't do any, I don't know. My options are really limited here. Oh my gosh, they actually switched. They're probably Focus Sash on the, Oh, okay, they actually protected. That makes the most sense, yeah. That's a really good play. A little bit frustrating because I actually could have pulled out a switch here, but with no terrain control, like, I don't know. Our options are so limited. Now you just Tailwind Astral Barrage. And this is funny because, you know, I was just talking about how, like, you know, often some teams will be, like, very weak to a certain, like, aspect of the game, right? Whether it be, like, special attackers, physical attackers. Well, in this game, the lack of ghost resists is just really tough. That's not to say, like, every matchup in Pokemon's unwinnable, but with harder matchups like this, you really have to come up with, like, a good game plan from turn 1, and I didn't, like, Thundurus Dragapult was a very weak lead into what my opponent led specifically. So, I definitely had to come up with a better lead than what I brought here, and I didn't go for that. Man, Phantom Force last turn actually would have been so sick. And I maybe should have gone for that. I should have darted into Calyrex, but I don't think it makes much of a difference here. I don't see a way to win. You know, could I have Dynamax Thundurus? Wait, Dynamaxing Thundurus actually gave us terrain control in this game. But what does that even do? Like, even if I control terrain, it's like they're going for Astral Barrage right now, so it doesn't make a difference. I think the only play I think could have been better was Phantom Forcing last turn, and hope that they're not Focus Sash on the Calyrex. Yeah. Like, this is why, if you don't have a Ghost Resist on your team, Calyrex can just absolutely steamroll. Same thing with the Ice Form as well, right? So, let's think of a better game plan, because this is a great example of a game in which, like, yeah, was the matchup pretty tough? Sure, but I did not put my best foot forward. We need to outspeed our... but the thing is, they'll always have Whimsicott. Like I said, I think you go Whimsicott Calyrex, one of your Psychic Terrain users for sure. I think you pretty much always do that. Indeedee was a fantastic bring for them here, because it negates our Dragapult. I need to apply more pressure with offense on turn 1. Poly Kingdra would be interesting. Because I could go for, like, Max Airstream Scald. I guess I could have just gone Poly Kingdra here, but I really didn't like Whimsicott Calyrex. Okay, is there any way we can win this? Can hope for, like, a Giga Choke. That's basically it. Because you just outspeed right now with your Pokemon. Yeah, they don't even need a Dynamax. Well played. I think they played it pretty much perfectly. Okay, given that they're Flame... Oh my gosh, they're not Focus Sash on that thing. It's Policy. Wow. That's fascinating. So, Phantom Force... Oh yeah. Wow, that's actually so cool. Phantom Force, the turn they switched out, I think, was the play. I honestly think it would have been better for them to just go for Follow Me Astral Barrage. So because I was so far behind, I also wonder, does Max Phantasm, like, one-shot through Protect? Because if so, that would have been the play. I think because we were so far behind in this game, I honestly should have just gone for... I shouldn't have Dragon Darted there. It's always Phantom Force or Max Phantasm there. And go for, like, a Hail Mary kind of play. I guess their reasoning there was so that they could outspeed, but yeah, like, we had opportunities to win even with the resources that we brought. I'm really curious. This Calyrex probably has bulk, though, given that they're slower than Dragapult and they have weakness policy. So I doubt Phantasm would one-shot through Protect. But Phantom Force would have been really interesting, because then you actually basically have to switch out, right? I guess you could Tailwind Astral Barrage, but their team is so built around Calyrex. Oh, no. They would just switch out Calyrex into Indeedee, I think. Oh, we can check their team. Scarflele with Fling. Goggles Indeedee. Screech, Focus Sash, Magnarize. I really like this team. It's really cool. Max Special Attack. A little bit of bulk, it looks like. Pollen Puff. Wow, Expanding Force, Astral Barrage, Protect. Patea Berry, Trick Room, and Tailwind. Wow, this is such a strong best of one team, it feels like, honestly. So kudos to my opponent, because, like, I think this team is just so cool. And something I'd want to try out, honestly. So well composed. You have so many tricks in best of one. Like, for example, the Scarf on the Lele, the double Fling is really valuable. The Bug here, Pollen Puff is great here. You have Magnarize and Screech, which is fascinating, and Focus Sash. I think often when people play against Alecki, they expect Magnet or Specs more often. So yeah, Sash is nice. I like Sash a lot right now. And then Tailwind and Trick Room. The Tailwind is cool because if you look at their team, they don't have great... Or sorry, the Trick Room is cool because if you look at their team, they don't have great anti-Trick Room answers. So I think my opponent in that game would probably actually bring their Whimsicott to reverse Trick Room, which would be really interesting. Okay, getting into our next match here. Wow. Mono Psychic. I feel like mono-type teams are always so scary because, yeah, theoretically, you know, you should have the type advantage. Because, like, when you use the same type, you really put yourself at a disadvantage. Man, I wish I had my opponent's last team right now. Just sweep through with Ghosts. I mean, I do have Dragapult, which actually theoretically could Dynamax here. Meowstic is actually kind of scary. Dragapult's actually kind of nice here because I can Will-O-Wisp as well. Yeah. Meowstic is what I'm actually nervous about because of Prankster attacks in general. And my opponent does have the Solgaleo, so Zacian obviously is a little bit weaker. I still think we bring it though because it just demolishes everything other than Solgaleo. So I'm down for a Dragapult Zacian lead, Poly Kingdra in the back. Debating whether or not I would want to bring Thundurus over. Like Politoed, but I like Politoed for potential Parasong endgames here. Yeah, I don't know. I think one thing that you'd never want to do in Pokemon and VGC is like to underestimate your opponents. And it is very easy to look at like a mono-type team or a team that looks kind of gimmicky and just be like, oh yeah, you know, this is going to be really easy. In fact, I think those are the teams I'm most scared to go up against because you know they're going to have some really crazy strategies that you aren't probably not expecting. For what it's worth, Gallade is one of my all-time favorite Pokemon. Actually, I used it back in VGC 2012 on like a Trick Room team, which was really fun. They lead with Meowstic and Gallade. Okay. Man, I am not going to lie. I actually really want to Dynamax Dragapult, especially because Phantasm gets defense drops. I think this is a unique scenario in which it actually makes sense to Dynamax Dragapult. I'm nervous about Trick Room going up, though, I guess. You can obviously fake out... Could be Cassiberry. Like, I want to Phantasm here into this thing and then just play rough. Or actually, sorry, Blade into this thing. But maybe it's better to mix it up, actually. No, but you could fake out and then have Trick Room with Gallade. That'd be really scary. I don't know what to expect turn 1. I do feel like if we have a lead after turn 1, we should win the game. I think it's so hard to come back against a Dragapult Zacian lead. If turn 1 goes well for them. So I'm glad to feature this because we actually never led Dragapult Zacian, but this is the thing about this Dragapult. It is still max attack, max speed at the end of the day, so you can Dynamax it. You just have to find the right scenarios. Okay, yeah, they go for Fake Out. If you're not Ghost Resist, I would think we KO Gallade, but Ghost Resist here definitely would make sense. Or Focus Sash, one of the two. Okay, yeah, they're not Sashed or Ghost Resist, so I feel like we are just in really good shape. I guess you bring out Solgaleo. But one thing I haven't done with this team yet is just pick up KOs and then go for a Parasong endgame. And like we can do that because we have another knockout staring in front of us right now. That should be Solgaleo, right? Oh, they bring Malamar out. Wow. I guess the scary thing here is my stat drops will actually boost your stats. Yeah. But I think it's fine, right? Let's just Phantasm and play rough here. Oh, Blade actually could be worth it in case you Dynamax this thing. I'll play rough. Because I could see them trying to Trick Room with that. Okay. It's funny that we had this game right after that last one because we went from me getting wrecked by ghost types to, you know, my opponent not having a ghost resist. The ghost is so strong when you have Dragapult and Calyrex Shadow, honestly. And so even though we didn't really fully sweep in this game, I think it highlights how Dragapult Zacian is actually a very like strong lead and one in which we had not used in any of the games yet. So one thing I really like about this team is the number of lead options you have, right? You have Poly Kingdra, you have Thundurus Kingdra, you have Thundurus Zacian, you have Dragapult Zacian. Someone in the comment section mentioned that Dragapult Politoed lead, right? Which I haven't gone with yet. Honestly, it may have been better in that last... Well, no, I think Calyrex Shadow just kind of sweeps through, so Phantom Force wouldn't have really done anything for us. But Yeah, I love the number of lead options there, but that's obviously a really short game, so let's get into the next one. Alright, next match we got here. This is really interesting. They have a Gastrodon, which actually scares me a fair amount, because obviously that's going to redirect our water type attacks away. If I put it into my Gastrodon, like Politoed Kingdra just demolishes his team. So that's good team building on their end, because they recognize the weakness, right? And so Gastrodon kind of patches up that weakness. It's actually really interesting. I'm actually kind of contemplating Dragapult Max. Landorus Max isn't bad either. Will-O-Wisp with this thing is quite nice against a fair amount of their Pokemon. I don't know. Dragapult plus this seems kind of fun. This thing is Taunt. Man, you can make a good argument for all of our Pokemon here, honestly. Their team's really cool, though. I think Dragapult plus Zacian is kind of nice because I can burn a lot of things with this thing. I guess, like, Ho is what I'm scared of, right? And then we go Politoed Kingdra in the back. The thing is, my Landorus does have max Rockfall here, so you could actually make a decent argument for it. But the thing is, I actually think Perish Song Endgame is very strong here with Politoed, because Ho is typically a bulkier restricted Pokemon. The only thing that's one-shotting Politoed is going to be that Kartana. So if we can burn Kartana, that immediately gives us, like, makes the Perish Song Endgame very, very viable. So, let's see. Let's see. Ideally. Okay, Ho-Oh-Clef. You should have Gastrodon in the back. I mean, I think this is scary in the sense that you obviously pressure the Zacian. If I'm my opponent, what am I doing? Dynamaxing Ho-Oh, going for Max Flare or Max Airstream, and protecting Clefable. Gastrodon's not out here, which was what I was kind of hoping to see. You could also, yeah, Max Airstream. Max Airstream here feels like the best option, but they could just Max Flare and get greedy here. I don't mind Phantom Forcing into Clefable and protecting turn 1. Wait, was this a Dynamax Dragapult game? It may have been. They actually don't Dynamax Ho, which is interesting, but Clefable protects, which is perfect. Okay, good. We have Phantom Force. I don't know, Dynamax Dragapult? Phantasm into Ho-Oh? Heat Wave. Huh. That's interesting. Okay, so it's special. I think I'm actually going to go out into Politoed right now. I don't think it's because you could Dynamax Ho-Oh, Max Flare into Zacian, and just KO that. And I think Zacian is way too important to give up right now. So I don't like Phantom Forcing there. I actually think Dragon Darts or Will-O-Wisp is better. Just get some damage off, because then I can switch Dragapult into Poly the next turn. And then I'd be free to just play with Zacian like that. So I think that was a kind of a subpar play by me turn 1. I'm just surprised they didn't Dynamax on turn 1. But I guess they didn't feel the need to, because their expectations, hey, Ho-Oh's not going to take any damage, and I can chip away at your, yeah, actually that would make a lot of sense. But they commit their Dynamax early, which honestly I'm okay with. Some will probably be up after, like, the switch-ins are now going to get a little bit awkward. The other question is whether you Airstream or Flare instead. Yep, Clef goes for Follow Me, that's okay. Because I think the better play is to just, yeah, bait out the Protect on Clefable turn 1 and then Phantom Force turn 2. Or sorry, Behemoth Blade at turn 2. Yeah, they're going to Flare, that's okay. Into Zacian, that's also okay. If I'm my opponent, what am I doing here? Airstreaming into Politoed? I don't even think that KOs. I don't want to switch Poly out here. Dynamax Ho. Wow, actually I'm really surprised by that. Okay. I really want to max this thing. Because my opponent doesn't have good Dragapult answers. You can't intimidate it. It's a question whether or not Phantasm KOs, but honestly, I think... Well, here's the thing. They could Airstream right now. Yeah, you could Airstream. I don't know if that KOs Politoed. With Life Orb, honestly, I would be willing to say it does. You need to respect Phantom Force. If I'm my opponent right now, I'm going for Protect and then Airstream onto Politoed. So I want to Protect. I honestly want to Phantom Force Clefable and Protect right now. Once again, that covers for a Follow Me Up, and then I can Helping Hand Phantom Force Clefable next turn. Okay, they go for Helping Hand on a Ho-Oh, which definitely means you're targeting Politoed, I would think. So, a little bit of a bummer. I could have Dynamax Dragapult here, Phantasm. But if they actually targeted the Dragapult slot, like, that's great for us. The cool thing is I can Helping Hand KO next turn. Yeah, they're going to Airstream. That's okay, though, right? I don't know, like, I'm not that scared of this Ho-Oh right now. I don't think I want to switch out. Okay, but if I don't switch out, isn't resetting the weather really, really difficult? I think so. So maybe the play is to actually sacrifice Kingdra so that we can... Oh, but then I don't KO Clefable. You know what? I'm honestly down. I think Dynamaxing Dragapult is, like, not a terrible option in this game. So I'm down to Helping Hand here. We get the KO into Clefable, and then we go from there. I've never really played with Dragapult this way, but I think the Dragapult on this team is so unique that you can make plays like this. Okay. Oh, Clefable didn't go for Helping Hand there. That's interesting. Or Follow Me. So probably Moonblasting there, or whatever offensive attack you have. We're still faster than Ho, actually, which is interesting. They actually target Dragapult, which means, because we have Focus Sash, we survive. However, it means your Ho gets a speed boost, which is scary, but now their Dynamax is over, and we still have Dynamax to play with, so that's good. I just can't switch in safely, which is awkward. And they set up the Sun, right? So it's like, obviously Zacian can do a lot. They brought Cortana. Oh, that's actually a really big problem. Gastron's definitely going to be their last one, but I think Kingdra can obviously max Airstream, which bodes well for us. You should outspeed with Ho-Oh now, right? So I would think you Brave Bird into this thing and Leaf Blade into Politoed. Maybe you Heat Wave, actually, because, well, Brave... Yeah, it's a question of who you want to cover, switch-wise. Okay, I'm going to go for Will-O-Wisp here onto Cortana. And we protect here. If we can burn Cortana, I think we win the game here, honestly. But I think Ho should outspeed us at +2 speed. Okay. They Heat Wave, so they risk missing here into Dragapult. But it is going to hit. Okay, that's fine. The thing is, once I go into Kingdra, my opponent has to make the awkward decision of whether or not you want to switch into the Gastrodon. They Leaf Blade into Poly, yeah. Because I think max Airstream into Kingdra is very safe. Or sorry, into Cortana is very safe. Just Zacian in the endgame is so nice. But maybe my opponent one-ups me and they're like, you know, I have Gastrodon on the back. I'm not gonna switch. I think it's fine to Airstream Cortana though and switch Politoed out here. Because like I said, we can play towards the Perish Song endgame. Yeah, I'm gonna make that play. Let's see if they switch Cortana out. If you switch Cortana out, we get the Airstream, and then we KO Gastrodon the next turn. We should just win the game with Kingdra. But really interesting team, and well played on their end, too. Love Life Orb Ho, that's super, super neat. The only play I regret, I didn't know how fast Ho was, so like I didn't think Dragapult would outspeed even after an Airstream boost from Ho, because then I could have just maxed Dragapult immediately and just gone for Phantasm into Clefable. Looks like they're actually going to stay in, okay. We also could have won the game just by risking a Max Geyser there into Ho-Oh, but I really didn't like that play. But with us having multiple turns of Dynamax to work with, I think this is still doable for sure, but Poly's obviously not going to be the one carrying the game. And I get nervous. I'm not sure switching into Zacian was actually good here, but it guaranteed that I get the rain back up. I think Life Orb Heat Wave would KO Zacian, but if we survive, that would be absolutely huge. The Zacian is actually pretty bulky. Ah, but it's enough. Okay. They played this really well, especially without switching into Gastrodon. Maybe they don't have Gastrodon on the back. Like, that's like a possibility. We've just taken so much damage here, which is not good for us. Okay, we get Airstream off. And now I outspeed Ho-Oh this next turn. Sunlight's also gone. See, the thing is, I could have risked it there, but if I actually stay in Geyser and then you switch in Gastrodon, it's just such a dud turn. Well, maybe not, actually. Because you'd have to switch. I gotta think about that a little bit more, actually. So we should outspeed Ho-Oh now. We have the speed boost and the rain. I have max Wormwind as well. But I think the best play here is to actually Wormwind into Cortana and Protect. Because that covers a, yeah, that covers a switch out right now. Ho-Oh really shouldn't do that much. Yep, there's the switch finally. Okay. And there's Gastrodon. Perfect. And then I can just Helping Hand Wormwind your Kingdra next turn. So I think we're in okay shape. Well, let's see how much max Wormwind does to Gastro first. Maybe we actually just try to KO Gastrodon instead. Oh, that was almost a one-shot. Okay. Because if we KO Gastrodon, we can just Life Orb Muddy Water and win the game off that, right? Wow. Ho-Oh had Thunder here. Okay, definitely was not expecting that. Fairly sure a Helping Hand Wormwind should KO Ho-Oh. Because they have Thunder? Wow, what? Thunder? I guess they have Heat Wave, so it's special. Wait, I should have actually thought of... Well, they have Brave Bird as well? Huh, that is fascinating. I could have won the game by going for Helping Hand last turn. No, because then Thunder... Does that KO me? I don't know. Okay, we're going to go for Helping Hand. Gastro protects. Okay, great. Yeah, I don't think I should need to target Gastrodon. I just don't know if Life Orb Max Wormwind KOs. Even with Helping Hand, but let's see. Okay, it's enough. Nice job, Kingdra. Scary endgame here, but really cool team from my opponent. The thing in a matchup like this is, like, I think in a best of one, you do just make the assumption they have the Gastrodon. If they actually, like, didn't bring it, that's just, like, crazy good play on their end. In the early game is what I'm talking about, because, like, in the late game, it's obviously, like, insurance for you. Okay, so they bring Cortana back out. I'm nervous about Earth Power, like, Cortana protects. Like, I think the better play here is to Hurricane into Gastrodon and then Scald into Cortana. We actually haven't won this endgame yet, because they could go for a double and then Cortana Leaf Blades Kingdra. I could, of course, Hurricane Cortana, but I don't think it's Assault Vest, so I think Protect is actually more likely. Because Gastrodon's protected last turn, Cortana can only knock out one of these two, so I think this is the better play, but if they actually go for a double on Gastrodon, get it, it's disastrous, but they don't go for it, so that's good. Curious on the item on Cortana. Don't think we ever saw. Yeah, and they Leaf Bladed to Kingdra, but even if you're Assault Vest, Scald should KO here with the rain. And we have that burn chance too, even if it doesn't KO, but there's no way it doesn't KO, right? It's at like 25% or 30%, I guess. I guess Poly doesn't have any special attack investment, which is kind of scary here. But yeah, I mean, Cortana's special defense is paper thin. So, yeah. Okay, definitely an interesting set of games. I mean, that third game was tough for my opponent. Like, I think they just really can't afford to really run into ghost types or hope to just get Trick Room up on turn 1, but that's exactly what we were trying to deny. Second game was really tough, but my opponent also played super well. Oh, it was Air Slash. Wait, do we even see a... I guess they never revealed their flying type attack. I don't know. I mean, I also just didn't know Ho-Oh got Thunder, to be honest, so that's pretty interesting. Special Ho-Oh, which is really cool, with Life Orb. Swords Dance Slum, Classic Landorus here, AV Cart, Expert Bell Gastrodon, Urshifu would Protect, Clefable. Wait, what was the... Oh, it was AV Cortana. Huh. Yeah, I guess it doesn't have that much special defense bulk, though, so it still took so much damage from the, Wait, what did I go for onto that turn? Max Airstream onto it? Never mind. Airstream would definitely have brought it down to a Sash or KO'd, so I don't know why I didn't think it was Assault Vest. Bad assumption on my end. Yeah, actually, I should have been able to detect, especially because they have Urshifu on the team as well. It doesn't make much sense for you to be anything but AV on Cortana. I don't know why I thought Max Airstream was supposed to just do that little onto Cortana. It was obvious, because I did Airstream that turn, right? And it did, what, 70%-ish? 75? So, even though I won the game, I should have been able to identify Cortana was Assault Vested. I don't know why I had that brain fart and thought it wasn't. And as soon as you know Cortana's AV, the game-winning play... Oh, actually... I was going to say was to max Hurricane into Cortana, but no, that doesn't actually make a difference, right? Because if I Hurricane Cortana and then Gastrodon Earth Power KOs Kingdra, I lose the game. I won't win the game off Parasong because Kingdra, the Gastrodon will be slower than the Politoed. So I think it was correct to just Hurricane Gastrodon Scald. I just needed a hope for a not, they didn't get a double protect with Gastrodon, but they didn't even go for it, which was huge. But they had a 1/3 chance of winning that game if they realized that win con. Safety Goggles is pretty interesting here. And then, yeah, this Dragon Ball, or sorry, this Holo set was just really interesting. Some speed, but yeah, I don't know. I could have maxed Dragon Ball, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I don't think it was a terrible idea, just without knowing Holo's full moveset, I was a little bit nervous. And I was thinking if I can just stall out their Dynamax, Kingdra should sweep through my opponent's team, which was what happened in the end, but it was definitely a little bit close for comfort. And thankfully, I didn't get KO'd by Thunder there, because if Thunder just one-shots us there, I think we kind of just lose the game, because we needed Politoed in that end game to get one more attack off. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed watching this ranked number 1 team play out. It is really a phenomenal team, and I'm not surprised I was able to get to first in the ladder. Of course, if you try it out now, some people might know some of the tricks up its sleeve, but I still think it's really, really darn consistent. So if you're looking for a team to climb with right now in the beginning of the season, this is definitely one of them. So yeah. Thanks as always for watching. Don't forget to answer the question of the day. I don't remember if I answered it in the beginning of the video, but my favorite sport to watch is basketball. So yeah, big fan of the NBA. And yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.